Tim, we just went live on YouTube. TikTok wasn't doing it for us today. You want to mic or up to you? Texas, we got CEO of Hive. What's going on, Tim?
Not much, just trying to hold it together.
What are you laying down right now?
These are little steel supports. We fill these walls in with foamed concrete. So these are just to provide a little bit support while we're filling it in. Once it's filled in, it's monolithic. It doesn't really need much support. But we do have rebar on the bottom. We got rebar that runs along the top. We got rebar that runs through it, just kind of like belt and suspenders. But at the end of the build, this will be like one big rock that sits on top of the foundation. So it's a super strong structure.
We got print going on with Hive 3D on their Seabase system, and as you guys may know by now, Hive has an incredible mixing system, one of a kind. This truck that's mixing their printed concrete and pushing it through the hose into their system, which they're able to move as many times as they want during the print. In theory, they could build a house as big as they want by just moving the printer over and over. And they got this wall segment going up tonight. They're printing into the sunset. And here in Texas, it's pretty tough to print when it's 105 degrees. They were doing it, but it's just sweaty. It sucks for my cameras. The live stream doesn't work. My gear starts overheating. It's nice printing in the evening, certainly, in these Texas summers. Every once in a while during the print process, there's a cleaning routine. And when they get to the cleaning routine, maybe we'll see a little of that and then go check out some of the other homes that Hive has completed. This is the 4th tiny home in Round Top, Texas.
I mean, it's doing fine. It's just different than we've ever printed before. Totally weird shit. Like, I mean, this layer's that thin. What it is, it's like it's. I'm mic'd up, by the way, but I mean, it's just this thicker, pastier stuff that we've never quite printed like this before. We've never printed this temperature either. I don't know. We're gonna have to stop and clean at least once because I gotta change this nozzle out so it'll reach the top. So, when it's here, so yeah, we'll stop.
I'm in the splash zone here, aren't I?
Oh yeah, when we clean, you will be, for sure.
We are at Hive 3D Builders in Round Top, Texas, where they're printing their 4th tiny home with their green cement mix. And we got CEO Tim. Hey, Tim.
Hi guys.
Tim's mic'd up, so if you guys have any questions, I'll relay them. You can see this print's going smooth. It's pretty quiet. Most of the noise is at the mixing system, but even over there, it's not too loud. And here at the printer, they've just got the concrete flowing out. In my opinion, it's really the mixing pump system that's the hardest part of printing concrete, because the robotic arm is really predictable. Once you got the right material, it's just flowing through the hose, going to the right spot. These guys seem to have their mixing system down. Much easier than the way they were mixing on their first printed home here. They've seen the whole evolution. Tim, can you describe the mixing process you guys started with?
Well, we've gone through a couple. In our first house, the big house we did, we were using a gantry system out there, and for that mixing process, we had a big track with a trundle, and we'd manually load that trundle, and it would go up a track and dump into a giant mixer, and then we'd add water and we mix it, then we'd go into a secondary mixing pump, and that would pump it out to the print head on the gantry system, and there was a third hopper there that would agitate it and extrude it. And then when we switched to this robotic arm system, the nice thing about this system is your mortar is a straight shot from your mixer. So it injects water into it, and from the time the water hits it to the time it's extruding here is a couple seconds, which is important for us because this cement replacement that we're using sets in about 45 seconds. It starts to get kind of a hard set. So it has to be fast, and we have to print pretty fast. This nozzle, we've got it turned down a little slower than usual because it's kind of, the weather's just weird. It's kind of humid and a little cooler than it's been, and so it's just not setting quite as fast as it normally does. So we've got the water turned way down low, and we're printing a little slower than we usually does. But even at this speed, it's, this is probably the fastest printing that you're going to see of any of the systems out there. So those big gantry systems print at a much slower pace. So
how much more automation do you have in your current mixing system versus the old one?
So the old one required people to load it. This is and mix it. And so this truck has a computerized mixing system on it that we kind of modified a little bit to mix it the way we need it to. So the truck does the dosing and the mixing. We can adjust that on the computer on the truck. And then we have some additives that we add at the mixing pump level. But the mixing at this point is almost completely automated in the sense that, like, to turn it on, you press some buttons, you press buttons to change it, and then to turn it off, you press buttons. So there's no manual loading anymore.
And the foundation, Tim, is it like a regular CMU foundation style, or is it extra thick or anything?
No, they're the beams underneath the walls. So the only real difference between this and like the cheapest foundation you can build is we're digging some extra beams underneath our walls since our walls are a little bit heavier. Not sure if we need it or not, but the foundations we're putting on these houses are, I would say, like a higher end foundation, but nothing that would be out of the ordinary for a traditional stick frame house.
You ever tried hemp fibers?
In the printing mix, we're using PLA fibers in this mix, and we haven't tried hemp fibers yet, but I'm interested in some hemp for our foamcrete infill because I think it's got some good insulation qualities. So we're about to start doing some experimentation with that.
We got the drone up over there. Okay, we got double time cameras. Getting all the angles. What do you guys think of the new setup doing the live videos? I prefer the live videos. I think it's much more transparent, and it's much more impressive to see a company print live than it is to see an edited video. It makes it, I mean, you guys are just seeing it raw, how it is out here.
Or a sped up video. We've got a lot of sped up videos out there that printers that move too slow, and you see them doing that like time lapse and see the guy in the background kind of moving around real fast.
At least if it's 16 times sped up, it's like a time lapse. But
They're
if it's
very
like
obvious,
1.5,
right?
What are you doing? Yeah, we're watching the evolution of technology and concrete and construction happen right before our eyes. Hopefully years from now, when houses are all built by robots, it's not even surprising to people anymore. We can look back and see how it evolved every step of the way. Right now we got Tim placing reinforcement, holding the inner and outer layers together. You get a lot of talkers in 3D printed construction, and there's people who say they print houses and say a lot of stuff, but it's Tim's out here doing it. So it's always the doers you got to listen to more than the talkers, and that's why I try to get as many doers on camera mic'd up as possible. If you guys are enjoying this live, if you guys could drop a like, that would be awesome to help grow the audience, spread construction automation to more people all around the world. Or if you want to share a link, you could copy a link to the live stream, post it on LinkedIn, or post a link to your Twitter, Instagram. Actually, not Twitter. I don't think they allow external links. But yeah, I think a lot of people would appreciate seeing there's not a lot of companies that are willing to do live streams like this. So it's a rare opportunity to get a truthful insight to the future of construction. It's great because nobody's hauling cinder blocks. The truck is filled with the material, so you're not loading up the stuff constantly. It's mostly just a supervision role at this point. They do a cleanup process. They're over halfway up this wall, so they'll probably have a cleaning process in the next 20 minutes or so. Huge thanks to Hive 3D for allowing us to film a live video of their awesome print here, historic print. Let me know when they do the cleaning process. Do you guys want to see the cleaning process, or do you want to see the other 3 homes that they printed, which are in varying stages of completion? We could see how they're doing some of the electrical, the plumbing, windows, doors. Part of the reason someone asked about a scaling issue. I wouldn't say there's a scaling issue, it's just a learning curve. People are figuring out how to use this technology. It's brand new. And you see Hive out here, they're testing new stuff like their mixing system. Nobody else is using that system. So there are all kinds of innovations and R&D. All right, yeah, when they do the cleaning process, we'll look at the almost finished homes that they've already printed. Tim, if everything were to go perfectly, how many print days would it take to get all these walls up?
2 to 3. So it depends if we're like racing or not. So theoretically, we could do it in 1. So we started this printing day to day at about 7:20 or so, and I don't know what time it is now, but let's see,
it's 8:30.
8:30. So we've been going at it almost just a little over an hour, and so this wall total print time should be about 2.5 hours. So if you look at this house, it's really designed to be printed in 4 sections, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, and with some kind of odds and ends, little columns and stuff. So theoretically, 12 hours of printing time. You could do that in 1 day, 2 days. Right now, we're doing it more like in 4 or 5 because we're, experimenting, changing some things up, fixing it for the weather. But yeah, so everything's going perfectly. I would say 2 days.
And what's the footprint homes?
This one right here, 550 square feet. Over here is about 800 square feet. And the little studios in the back are about 450 square feet. So something between a tiny home and a small house. The 2-bedroom, 2-bath that's just a small house. But the studios back there are bigger than a tiny home and smaller than a typical house. But they're just meant to be like short-term rentals. Those little ones.
Yeah, Round Top has an annual big influx of tourism.
Right. So they have festivals here, and these are meant, this is an event venue, and so these are meant for people to stay during the festivals. And, the bigger ones are kind of leasable for, regular apartment type stuff, but the little ones are meant mostly for the festivals.
Kind of like Palm Springs, they make all the revenue in the week of the festival or the month of when everyone's visiting.
Right.
And people will be able to stay in these, and even more people will then be exposed to printed houses and understand what it's like experiencing a night in a 3D printed home. Where will you have these? Will they be sold or listed on Airbnb?
These are already sold to the developer here, Star Sky Development, and so that he'll have them listed on Airbnb.
Cool.
Pretty soon here.
And for future projects, what kind of work are you guys looking for?
Project-wise?
Yeah, what do you want to build?
So we're interested in kind of small developments right now, 10, 20 houses. Those are good sized bites for us. We're going to be doing some of our own developments this year and next year on the affordable housing side. But we also have some more printers coming. So we'll have 3 to 4 more printers and trucks and units, and some of those will be working on our own developments, and some of them will be working on bigger custom houses, and some will be working on smaller developments for third parties. So we're interested in all kinds of projects, whether it's a big custom house or a development of small houses. The only thing that we probably can't save money doing for the client would be like one small house somewhere, far flung. Just because the mobilization costs on that are a little too high. But if it's
I've actually never seen compelling evidence that anyone ever saved money with 3D printed construction. So when you guys finish the project and have the data, it'll be the first.
Well,
I'm very eager for it.
yeah. Well, I mean, we'll announce pricing on our next development probably in about, I'm guessing, 3 months here, and those will be put on the market for a significant chunk lower than other houses. And it's cleaning time, I think. Yeah, maybe it's all right. But those will be put on the market for significantly less than the comparable houses. Yeah, it's cleaning time. Yeah, I think so. Actually, I'm gonna let it go. I'll let it go maybe a few more layers. I was trying to get to 5 feet.
How do I do this?
Man, pretty close, man.
It's close. What did I do with my tape measure?
I think you're like 7 inches here.
Yeah. Shoot, I had a tape measure just a minute ago. Oh, and also time to clean. Ah, crud.
All right,
What's
so
up?
now they're going through the cleaning process. In a second, I'll take you through and show you the
The
completed homes
telehandler.
that they've done. It's a little bit dark, but we'll get a good look at that.
Yeah, well, no, we stick the telehandler forks under, we lift that whole thing up once it dries and get rid of it. Yep.
All right. So they're going to flush out the hose, and this is just a preventative measure to make sure that they don't end up with a bad clogging event. While they're doing that, we're going to take a look at the homes that they've already printed. So you can see this
We
one
didn't really schedule it.
has a
It's starting to look
stuccoed
pretty
portion
hairy.
over here where
But
they
it didn't like flop.
managed to.
No, it didn't flop over.
Tim, you want to press the button on your mic so you're not mic'd up?
Yeah, sorry, I'm talking over you, aren't I?
I can't hear what's happening anyway. I just don't want to.
Yeah.
Here.
All right, thank you.
All right, so we got the stucco. This is how they smooth out the walls. A lot of people ask, how do you get a smooth finish? Some people worry this could collect dust or whatever. And if you want to be a little bit of a neat freak, you have a smooth flat walls, that's totally an option. They demonstrated that stucco here, but they didn't put it on all the homes because they want to show off the printed concrete. Here they painted this one, and they're going to do floor to ceiling windows and doors. They got the rebar sticking out the top. I believe that's going to connect into the insulated concrete form roof. And in this home, this one they almost mixed by hand. It was a mixer that was like an orange drum, really tricky. Now they've got this truck. It's much easier for them, not nearly as back-breaking an effort. In a little bit of time here, they should be done their cleaning process. There's the old drum that they used to mix in. They're really happy to have this big truck. They got an off-road forklift so they can load material in. And now they've probably emptied the concrete out. Maybe they'll do a couple more flushes. It's really a pretty quick cleaning process compared to some other systems that could be much longer. This one's usually 5 or 10 minutes, and a bigger system could be an hour cleaning process. So now they're getting clear water through the pump That means it's clean now. And they'll start printing pretty soon. And the printer remembers where it was, and they should just be able to start right back up, finish out the wall for the day. Where to find a finished house in Florida? There's a finished printed home in Tallahassee that was sold already, I believe. Don't go bother them. They private homeowners. You can see the videos on my YouTube channel touring through it, but once somebody, it's a family in a home, you don't want to bother the family. So that's why most of my videos are of a construction site. I'd much rather bother the construction workers than people who are at peace in their home. And taking off the extruder head. Over there, they're cleaning out the auger in the mixer pump system. And a lot of this is pieces that weren't necessarily initially developed for printed concrete. So in the future, they can have a more a system that's more set up for this specific material that they're printing because their material is so unique. Maybe they'll have less cleaning and just a lot of things here and there. 10% improvement here, 10% improvement there. In another couple decades, this technology could be unrecognizable. Looks like they've now put a smaller extruder head on. They're going to get the printer started back up in no time. It may be doing a dry layer test beforehand, I don't know. Tim, you want to click back on? It should be blue after you press it.
Yeah.
Now Tim's got the pendant operating the printer. Tim, what happens next?
So I'm gonna kind of find a new spot to start on, and the reason we're doing this is, you know, the advantage of this arm system is it prints really fast and there's zero setup time. The disadvantage is it has a smaller printing envelope, both high and low and side to side. So we can actually go pretty high with this thing because of those legs, but we're not using them right now. So you can increase your printing envelope by doing things like switching the nozzles out. So you saw that really long nozzle that allowed to reach all the way to the floor on this envelope. And to get to the top layer, we're going to use the shorter one. So it just has a little more room to operate. So, but when you replace this, you're basically overlapping in the model where its points are. So you got to find a new point. And so I'm just going to punch in. I'm just going to randomly guess until I get close, and then I can adjust the nozzle to kind of calibrate to that point.
So a dry layer test, then you'll dial in the mix, and then you get back to printing.
Yep.
Nice.
What you need.
In no time, Hive is going to get started printing again. They just did a preventative maintenance, a cleaning process where they flush out the hose so that there's no clogging or anything. You know, there's these lights behind me, so these glasses are really helpful right now, even though it's nighttime. And they're going to get started printing again in no time. They're just doing a dry layer test. They'll get the material running through again. You can hear the mixer starting to run up again. They cleaned off the auger in the mixer so that it's going to be fresh and ready to complete the rest of this wall tonight, hopefully. Now Tim is just lowering the extruder head until it's about a thumb width from the printed wall. And once he's satisfied with the location and the height, they'll be able to move it back over to the section where they dial in the mix and get started printing again. It's really an incredible process. Right now they're doing a little clean out.
So what is? No, I don't. I know the big flat. Here, yeah.
Pretty soon they're going to start printing again. They're going to dial in the mix. You guys are pretty patient. We have more people waiting now than we had when they were printing, but they should finish this section tonight, get to full height like that other side over there. You guys are witnessing the future construction automation placed right before your eyes. This technology has been advancing, improving over the past few years. It was pretty recent that the first permanent homes were completed in America and around the world. Even though it was ideated a few decades ago, it's been really taking off lately. In 2019, there was a big push in Asia, 2020, Dubai, Europe, 21 also Europe, Dubai, but 22, 23, the United States has been printing so many houses all around the country, the west, east, central, all over the country. And you also have some big projects going on in Europe, some of the biggest incredible design, parametric design curves and stuff that printing makes possible versus traditional methods of construction where it's all flat, boring, and all trending towards corporate architecture. Every town looks the same with a McDonald's and a Walmart. Printing offers an alternative. Sick shirt, Daniel. Yeah, I think you're the winner of the hat.
It's not very dirty.
It's the dirtiest one I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bring the hat for you next time.
I told Miguel you would give him a shirt too. He said, "Oh, I get it dirty." Yeah. I also told him, I said, "If you cut yourself, guys, come hit me up."
Smeared in blood, war paint.
Right, man. Normally, what we do, the general practice is if you cut yourself or you receive a previous injury, you put it somewhere on the wall. Sign your name, typically,
It's a good tradie practice.
You might go right on that.
Yeah, I am. But you're not. When you're a startup, it's like war. You got to be battling all the big companies out there and fighting for financing and competition. These guys are soldiers out here operating, developing, figuring stuff out, troubleshooting. And they just moved the printer to the position where they'll start mixing the material. It's not stuck at all. They cleared out the hose so that they could have a clean system for the next part of the print. You do a little preventative maintenance every once in a while so that you don't have an unpredictable clogging event. And now they're almost about ready to get going. They'll start running the material, the water through. They got a great setup. You see the clear water coming through now. Yeah, and like I said, it was like a 10-15 minute cleaning process. Tim, the roof is ICF or?
The roofs on these houses are just going to be 2x10 frame shed roofs.
Okay.
We're actually working with a great company called Assemble Modular out of College Station for our next houses, and they make a structural SIP panel. So we're zeroing in on a complete system that after we print, everything else just bolts together onto the house, including the roof.
What made you want to start a 3D printed construction company?
I've been a builder for a while. For probably 20 years now, just doing random stuff. And I built lots of crazy stuff: earth bag houses and metal houses and regular houses. And I started following this technology 5 or 6 years ago, and really kind of kicking the tires on it to see if we could do it efficiently. And at some point decided I think we could, but the only way to find out was to try and do it. And so that's what we're doing right now.
And this is the second printer you guys are working with, so you've been kicking quite a few tires.
Yeah, we kick a lot of tires. And this won't be the last printer we work with.
Oh,
Like
wow.
we're developing all different kinds of stuff. This is going to change. This system. We try and be really modular in what we do. So if we have the best mixing system in the world, we keep that. If another printer comes along, if CBay makes a better printer, we use that or whatever. It's just we're trying to be flexible in what we're doing.
Do you have one thing you really like and dislike about this printer?
I really like the speed and the small footprint of it. Printing envelope isn't great, so we're already working on some programming modifications and some nozzle modifications to push that envelope up a little bigger.
Now you can see it's some concrete coming out of the mix, not just water. Usually once it starts dropping in a homogeneous pattern, that's when you know it's about ready to go. It starts solidifying. The nice part about this system is the hose is fairly thin, so you don't go through too much material in the startup process. Some systems have a big, thick, like 6-inch hose, and if you have that thick of a hose, you're going to be wasting a lot of material. A thin hose, it's just like a bucket full or so, and you're ready to go. Now you see it starting to come out at regular intervals, more so, and that's a pretty good sign. See that? Drop, 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 drop. That's really good. Almost as impressive as a live SpaceX launch. I think this is a lot cooler because most people in the world will be able to see and touch this, whereas most people will not be able to see and touch space or Mars. I think construction automation can affect everybody in our lifetimes as opposed to space, which will only affect a few. And now they've started the print again. You can see the whole cleanup process was like 17 minutes or so, and they're getting more and more efficient every time they do it. We can take a closer look at the print now that it's not splashing us. Well, it's drying out a bit. Certainly not easy. A lot of times they can recover from these kind of events. We'll see if they're able to make a swift recovery. It looks pretty good actually now. Maybe not, I spoke too soon. They're getting some solid layers. It seems like the only problem is this front section here. They're getting great layers around the other side. Over in the center there, everything looks good, but the edges are having some trouble. And stop the print. It is unfortunate, but it's part of the process, and they're able to recover from it. Not the ideal scenario, but they should be able to readjust the mix. And it's kind of Murphy's Law. When you got the live camera, anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and adds a lot of pressure, a lot of trouble. And it's really a brave group here printing live, because this stuff happens to every group. everyone printing concrete experiences stuff like this. And if a group tells you that they don't, they're lying. It happens to everybody. The temperature changes, the ambient conditions change while you're printing, and it's just part of the process as people are learning how to implement robotics on the construction site. Stuff's not easy the first time you do it. You can't just pick something up and be perfect at it the first try. So it's a work in progress, a learning experience, and that's why I was saying these guys are like soldiers out here, because it gets tough and you gotta kind of just grit through it. And in the moments where the concrete's flowing, you gotta be going. Right up now they're resetting the wall and they're going to be ready to start back up again. So this might be the first time we've ever got to see this on camera, because no other group has ever been so honest and transparent. I told Tim he could tell me to shut the live off at any time, and he hasn't given me the signal. So they're really showing the realities of how it is printing concrete. I mean, it's an effort whenever you do something new. Engineering. These guys are doing engineering out here, trial, error, getting the experience that's going to take this industry to scale. Right now they're going to print this left side of the wall. Their material's coming out a little better now, I think, and I believe they're going to get started, picked right back up from where they left off, hopefully, or perhaps another cleaning process. And it's on. These guys are like a pit crew, reassembling, getting everything going again. They had that whole thing go off course a little bit when the material wasn't pumping perfectly, but they just removed the material by hand and they're starting again. They lost a few layers, but it's going to be okay. The purge tower actually isn't so substantial. You can see it's right here. Maybe 5-10 gallons of concrete or so. And that's including the mishap. So they had to start that back up again. It's about double the size it would have been otherwise. Huge thanks to Hive 3D for their transparency, openness. Nobody else has printed concrete live like this over an hour. I really don't think you'll see any other company showing this level of transparency yet. Hopefully, I'm trying to do more live videos. I want to make it the only option when I go visit these groups, so that it's more fair, because you guys are seeing it raw here because Hive is being so open. Everybody should be so open. It's the groups that will print live that are the best groups. They're the most trustworthy, the most transparent. People say they can do things. You got to see them do it. That's why I try to go to every project live in person, get the primary sources so that we can have accurate information instead of just relying on what we see on the internet, right? I know, I'm on the internet too, but we're the good guys. Seems now the layers are coming out much better than before. And this is actually one of the better joints that they have when it dries. You may not even be able to tell the difference between each layer segment. It seems like Tim managed to line up the layers pretty well on this one. And they got printing again, which is incredible given it was about this point when they stopped last time, so they only lost a couple minutes or so of printing, and now it's getting a solid layer. That's pretty good. Huh. I'm gonna try to go live on TikTok and Instagram and hit some of the other platforms. But huge thanks to Hive 3D for their incredible openness, transparency, honesty, letting me film the live video here. Hopefully we can do a lot more live videos and show how 3D printed construction is in its raw form, instead of just the headlines that you guys see. Because it is incredible, the true realities of it. It's pretty fast, it's reducing labor, it's reducing the effort on the job site, and we're seeing it evolve right before our eyes. So catch you on the next one.